I want to ask you, though, who has the best and biggest arm in the NFL? And don't be shy.
Now?
Yeah,
you know who's got a sneaky big arm? Sneaky big arm is Baker Mayfield's got a cannon, and I don't think he gets enough credit for it. I'm serious. He can actually chuck the ball.
Talk that talk.
I'm serious.
I don't know what
Shady
you
want to take his question back now. Shady want to take his question back.
2nd and 10. Mayfield looking for Ibuka.
Oh, what a
catch! He pulls it in. He was bounced up.
Baker Mayfield at 4-1, 100% is in line to be MVP of this league, and you could make the case through 5 weeks he is that.
And Baker's playing like a fucking MVP. I saw posts this morning with people like Baker MVP.
Baker Mayfield's NFL career seemed dead and buried following his trade to the Carolina Panthers back in 2021. But he's bounced back in incredible fashion, and in 2025, he's making his case as one of the MVP frontrunners. But that resilience shouldn't have come as a surprise. All Baker knows is fighting back against astronomically weak odds. Throughout his entire career, he's been doubted, but nobody has seemed to learn their lesson yet. Nobody respects Baker Mayfield, but maybe it's about time that they should. For starters, this guy has always had a massive chip on his shoulder.
Do you guys like having that target on your back? Everyone knows who you are, everyone wants to take you out. What's it like having all that pressure on you?
Personally, I like it a lot. I mean, people try to doubt us all the time, but I like to have a chip on my shoulder when I play, so that helps out with that.
Yup, that is Baker in high school, with that same energy as always. At Lake Travis High School, a football powerhouse on the outskirts of Austin, Baker won a state championship and threw for 6,197 yards and 69 touchdowns to just 7 interceptions, but saw limited college interest. His size was a major obstacle, generously listed at 6'1", 190 pounds, but his stats showed Mayfield could sling it, not just with power, but elite precision, a skill that Baker developed out of necessity.
I had to learn how to be accurate with it because of how big I was growing up. I wasn't the biggest guy, but what got me by was the mental aspect of the game, and then also just putting the ball in the right spot. There's a saying that you can't defend a perfect ball. I don't care who you are. You can't defend a perfect ball.
We'll get back to that mental aspect in just a second. But back in 2012, the 3-star recruit received offers from Rice, New Mexico, and Florida Atlantic. But Baker knew that he was destined for bigger things, instead opting to back himself and walk on at Texas Tech. He was surprisingly named the starter for the Red Raiders, but would eventually lose the job to Davis Webb, complicating Mayfield's development. Feeling counted out by the coaching staff, he transferred to Oklahoma, the school he had always dreamed of attending, but had to sit out his first year due to NCAA regulations. But when he finally suited up for the Sooners, Mayfield was breathtaking. The 2-time walk-on finished 4th in Heisman voting his first season in Norman, tossing a conference-best 36 touchdowns to bring the Sooners back into contention for the national championship. While his second year with Oklahoma was even better, it was his 3rd and final season as the starter that Baker truly grabbed the nation's attention. Over 4,600 yards, 43 touchdowns to just 6 picks, and a 70.5% completion rate saw Mayfield comfortably win the Heisman Trophy, becoming the first ever walk-on to take home the most prestigious award in college football with his work on the field. But everything else around him was thrown into question. His incessant trash-talking and taunting raised character concerns. Sure, planting a flag in the middle of the O at the shoe is badass, and he was always able to back it up with his play. But not everyone was impressed by his antics on the sidelines.
Right there, now that's inappropriate. That's inappropriate, uncalled for, and that right there, NFL GMs are going to see that and they're going to mark it down, saying that's not what we want in the National Football League. It's not what Lincoln Riley wants at Oklahoma. It's not what we want in college football as fans.
That's not even to mention his mugshot and the accompanying CCTV footage of Baker trying and epically failing to flee the police. It was getting harder and harder to see his sideline antics as anything less than a reflection of his recklessness. Plenty of voices around the NFL felt that this plummeted the Heisman winner's draft stock, who, at one point, had seemed like a lock for the first overall pick.
running from police on video. And worst of all, they caught him. So he's slow. I'm sorry. Everybody's talking about, 70% this, 70% that. There's a police video out on him. Look it up. He's running from cops. He's a quarterback. I'm done. Undraftable. Off my board. Can't draft him.
But the man who spoke at the podium at that 2017 Heisman ceremony was clearly humbled and honored by the recognition, completely at odds with the brash and arrogant persona Baker was portrayed as by the media.
There's many more people I could thank that have helped me get here, but it's unbelievable. I just want everybody to know I appreciate them. I can't name everybody because it's too many. It wasn't just me, and although that statue right there is going to have my name on it, it's more deserving to my team too and my coaches, so appreciate you guys.
The truth is, the trash talking and taunting are an inextricable part of Baker's game.
But let's get to the stuff I don't like. Sidelines, grabbing stuff, whizzing footballs. Come on, you're going to be a franchise quarterback. What are you grabbing stuff that? Why? What's going through your mind when you do that during games?
Have you played football past high school?
I quarterbacked, and I've sucked.
Past high school?
Well, no, not past high school.
Football is a violent, competitive game.
Yeah.
That's the way it was always meant to be played.
Yeah.
You're supposed to play it with an edge. You're actually trying to impose your will on the other person to win.
Right.
Along with his elite accuracy, that mental edge, which we singled out earlier, is a big part of what makes Baker such a great football player. That ability to get into his opponent's heads, matched with a willingness to fight for every inch in games, has made him a winner everywhere he goes. Mayfield's competitive fire is unquestionable and has allowed him to rise to the top, no matter the odds stacked against him. Nothing proved this more than when he was finally drafted first overall to the Browns, where he immediately challenged the historical precedent for Cleveland quarterbacks. He ended a 19-game winless streak for the Browns in his first time playing NFL football, and wound up bringing one of the sport's longest-suffering franchises one win below 500, an impressive debut effort. While Mayfield endured a bit of a sophomore slump, in year 3, he let Cleveland know that they finally had their franchise guy. 26 touchdowns, 11 wins, and their first playoff berth in 18 years, all without wide receiver 1 Odell Beckham Jr. for most of the season. What's more, Mayfield threw for 263 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no picks in a gritty road win over Pittsburgh, Cleveland's first and only playoff win since 1994. This guy was clearly not intimidated by the brightest lights, and sure as hell knows how to win a rivalry game. From the outside, he appeared to have a very promising future in Cleveland, but behind the scenes, things were falling apart. Baker played through a partially torn labrum in his left shoulder for the entire season, and severely aggravated the injury before picking up another knock in Week 10. In the meantime, his play suffered, big time, and it was difficult to ignore. What didn't help was Odell Beckham Jr. making his frustrations with the injury-battered QB be known publicly by way of his father.
Odell Beckham Jr.'s dad, Odell Beckham Sr., his Instagram account kind of delineating just how often Odell is open multiple times. And we've kind of seen some of that. For whatever reason, Odell Beckham Jr. and Baker Mayfield unable to get on the same page. In great...
Mind you, Baker publicly defended OBJ before through his struggles with injury, but the veteran wide receiver was seemingly incapable of repaying the favor in Mayfield's hour of need. This was a reflection of a league-wide trend. For the first time since he became the Browns starter, people were questioning Mayfield's ability on the field. All of a sudden, that fiery personality that helped rejuvenate the team and bring them out of the dark ages became problematic. Character concerns was a phrase being thrown around once again. Supposedly, the Browns were worried about Baker's maturity. They reportedly wanted an adult at quarterback. While Mayfield was recovering from shoulder surgery in the 2022 offseason, the Browns decided it was time to throw in the towel on their first overall pick from just 4 years prior. They opted to trade for a man of upstanding character, Deshaun Watson, and signed him to an absurd, fully guaranteed $230 million contract. Baker, instead, was shipped off to Carolina, where his career reached new lows. Despite being named the Week 1 starter, Mayfield won just one of his first 5 starts before injury once again derailed his season. By Week 12, he was on the fringes, lining up as a D-end for the scout team, only to be released at his own request. It seemed like only a matter of time before he was out of the league altogether, but in what appeared to be a desperation heave, the injury-battered Rams picked Baker up off waivers, a move that inspired little confidence.
Joy, I do believe Sean McVay can save Baker Mayfield's career, and it all might start tonight with the world watching. What do you say?
Hell to the no.
No.
But McVay knew exactly what he was getting.
You know, when you have a player of his caliber come available and you look at just the circumstances and the situation surrounding our quarterback room, we felt like it was the right move for us. He's a guy that I've always respected his game, liked a lot of things that he brings to the table. I've known him a little bit, just going back to even when we rode out to the combine together when he was training in LA, and we sat next to each other on the Southwest flight, with it being the only direct flight from LAX to Indianapolis. So as far as his status for tomorrow, we're working through that kind of stuff. We just finished up. I mean, he literally just got here last night. Incredibly sharp guy. It was good to be able to be around him, but really we felt like it upgraded our quarterback room, gives us a chance to, to have him in the building, and we'll see how it goes, and we'll take it a day at a time.
And in his first game in LA, Baker strutted his stuff. With just 48 hours to prepare, he led a 14-point fourth quarter comeback with a drive he started in his own end zone. He celebrated the moment the only way he knew how, and that was all it took. Baker had his swagger back. The Rams only won one more game that year, but Mayfield had done enough to earn another shot at being a franchise QB, which was granted to him by the Bucs. And the rest is very recent history. Tom Brady is a tough act to follow, but Mayfield did so admirably, earning the first Pro Bowl nod of his career in 2023, along with a hefty 3-year, $100 million extension. Although he led the league in interceptions in 2024, he brought an explosive Bucs offense to the playoffs once again. In 2025, he's playing better than ever, leading the charge for a Tampa team that looks a real threat in the NFC. His arm is still as live as ever. Through 5 weeks, he leads the league in touchdown throws of 20-plus air yards with 6. In a Week 5 shootout against Seattle, he became the first QB ever to have 375-plus pass yards and fewer than 5 incompletions in a regular season game. Meanwhile, the two teams that disposed of him, the Browns and the Panthers, are in disastrous situations with their respective quarterbacks. Both front offices have to watch Baker garner MVP shouts and have even his most vocal critic in the media doing a complete 180.
I once called you an immature, undraftable 2-time transfer, a frat guy in commercials. Well, it takes a big man to admit when he's wrong, and, well, I'm 6'2". You are undeniable. A flag-planting rebel. A team captain of a pirate ship. The walk-on quarterback forcing foes to walk the plank.
What makes this even more remarkable is that the chip has never left Baker's shoulder. When asked about why the Browns dumped him, he said,
I think I'm still confused too.
Makes sense.
No, I think towards the end there, I played 2021 with a pretty much torn apart shoulder, and I was excited to be, get the surgery, get healthy, and get another shot to try and get back to that 2020 form. But that wasn't their plan, and I'm a firm believer everything happens for a reason. Now, the roller coaster I went on after that was a little bit nuts for me. It gave me a good perspective, being in Carolina, trying to be a good mentor to a couple guys, and just a different perspective on it. Take a step back, be a good leader, and then also at the same time, then going to LA, it was like, all right, looking at each other, I got a 5-game season here, let's make the most of it and pad the resume.
Yeah. And in 2025, he's playing with a point to prove. Back at his trash-talking, gunslinging best, fans around the league are learning the hard way that they need to put some respect on Baker Mayfield's name.
You're still
From a two-time walk-on to a near draft bust, Mayfield should have been down and out many times before. But every time that he's doubted, the QB uses it as fuel to play even better and silence his very sizable group of haters. In 2025, he seems to be turning another corner, transcending his previous bests to enter the elite QB discourse and place his name firmly in the mix for the MVP trophy. Maybe it's time we stop doubting him. Maybe it's time we admit nobody respects Baker Mayfield, but maybe they should. But what do you think? Can Baker and the Bucs keep this up? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more NFL stories just like this.